Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ask a Christian podcast. I'm your host, Nate. All right. Hope everyone is having a good day. Let's see what kinds of fun questions we can find. Okay, so real fast, go to, if you're listening on audio, thanks, Podbean or iTunes or Apple or whatever. If you want to see some video and some screen shares and things like that, go to youtube.com/@questionsaboutchristianity, no spaces, all one long string of words, no spaces. If you do spaces, typing in something like questions about Christianity, you will never find us. We like to be mysterious like that. So, yes, youtube.com/@questionsaboutchristianity. Okay, there you go. All right, so let's get started. What do we have today? So let's do some investigative Googling real fast. Okay. Trump's comments on getting to heaven. An AI overview. During a flight to Israel on October 12th, 2025, President Donald Trump told reporters that he did not think he was heaven-bound. I want to get the actual quote. I don't want someone to summarize this, because when anything summarizes anything from anyone remotely important, they're not doing it justice, it's out of context, and they're wrong. That's where I'll put my banner and say, put up a proving wrong sign. I don't believe it. I want an actual quote. Anyways, so what we have now, he did not think he was heaven-bound, but that he has made life a lot better for a lot of people. The comments were made in response to a question from Fox News reporter Peter Doocy, who asked if U.S. brokered ceasefire in Gaza would help the president get to heaven. Yeah, I want to see the whole transcript. Let's see. Reference these past statements in his question.
Odd question to ask. So I guess to be fair to Trump
responded, "I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me into heaven. Okay, I think I'm not maybe heaven bound." Let's see. Then it goes into evolution of Trump's views on the afterlife. An AI overview. Ask me how I know it's wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's right. Let's see. In the 90s, he did an interview with Playboy and said, "I don't believe in reincarnation, heaven or hell, but we go someplace." Okay. So Playboy described him as not a religious man. In 2015, he described himself as a churchgoer and Presbyterian Calvinist. Though he joked that becoming president might be the only way he gets into heaven. Following 2024, following assassination attempt, Trump was asked about heaven. And in an August interview on Fox, he responded, "I do believe in heaven. If I'm good, I'm going to heaven. And if I'm bad, I'm going someplace else." Well, that is not correct Christian theology, even Presbyterian theology. Okay, and then when asked about ceasefire, he says he's made life a lot better. Caroline Levitt later said Trump believed Trump was being serious and that he wants to get to heaven. Well, if he wants to get to heaven, repent and believe the gospel. Appeal to Jesus, don't appeal to yourself. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. Maybe if other people, maybe if other people talk and give me time to research, I'll try to find the actual transcript. Actually. Hey, Dibbity, what's up? I have a feeling you already know everything about this. Maybe. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. Are you familiar with this?
The quote that you read, starting with I'm being a little cute. That was the actual quote where he said it. That was pretty complete in the context that I remember.
Don't let my typing distract anyone. In case anyone else wants to know, Lou had a question about setting up a proper router setup for his house yesterday. Here's my advice. Throw your router in the trash and just have one device that plugs straight into your cable modem. That's the answer. This is coming from someone who has over 20 devices. Only use one, plug it directly into a modem. Routers make everything worse. That's the answer. Yes, Arendum?
Saying motor Redum duo?
No. I don't believe in those because typically you have to pay a subscription or something to the cable company for the privilege of using their built-in router. I do not like that. I've had very good luck with routers in the past. I think it may just be this one. It's a Asus. I don't remember. I've usually had good luck with Asus products. This router, it's always been a little janky, and now it is. Chris has a theory. Here's some tech talk. If anyone has a question about God, let us know. Oh, someone does. Oh, it's Lou. Tech talk. Chris has a theory that there could be a loop back, meaning one of my devices is trying to like dual connect somehow, and that's causing like intermittent connectivity and breaking my whole system. Barring that, this router's trash. Good morning, Lou.
The same thing that happens to my wife. There's that loop back thing happening.
Yeah,
she's always complaining about why is the internet always like logging me off? And I'm like, it's not logging you off. It's just switching to your phone internet.
Oh, I think we have it here. No, we don't. Come on. Okay, if someone could find the actual transcript, I would be interested.
Jesus had a router. What kind of router would Jesus have?
I don't even know to make enough jokes about that. I don't know. Gosh, what was I going to say first? Yeah, I used to have a Netgear Nighthawk, and that's the one I tried to go back to. Oh, Lou, let me try to fix your problem. So Chris says, first of all, Chris was thinking like $200 an hour, Chris, and he's like, you have to go through each device and disconnect each device, and only then, eventually, after this painstaking process, will it be revealed which device is bad and causing your troubles. And then today, I'm like, hey, can't I just change my network name and password so no device can connect and I can individually start adding them? And whenever I have a problem, that's the one. He's like, that's a very good idea. So I'm going to try that later.
Or you could just turn them off. Turn all the devices off.
Dude, well, yeah, but it's like...
and turn them on one at a time.
Well, it's like process of elimination. I mean, first of all, if I change the network name and it still does it, then it's not a device, it's my router. So that's the easiest way to rule that out. Like, change the network, run it for a couple hours, and if I have problems, it's probably a router issue. If not, after a couple hours, turn one on, or, you know, connect one. I was thinking, I'm like, I don't even know if I can disconnect everything. I have so much wireless crap around here. It's just probably I need to put a Faraday cage around my house. Like, I have so much stuff, like, I'm like, wait, what about Google Home? I'm like, oh, wait, I have like 4 of those things. Where are they all? And then all the stuff my kids have, like we have old phones like we use for backups. Like we have like old phones that don't have data, but they, you know, we'll connect them and use them for like streaming and Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So we have so many devices. I'm like, oh, yeah, I have a wireless printer too. Wait, do I have more than one? Oh, yeah, my watch is wireless. Hey, Connie, what's up?
Oh, I just wanted to, I came up to say, please don't use Chris's phony voice. I mean, it's
does it give you terror? Does it send a chill through your spine?
I can't believe you were doing it. It's going, no, don't take us there.
I could do his Archbishop's voice. I won't do that.
You could do. You should stick to doing his voice. It's good, and be dead serious when you do it.
Why?
Dude, he asked me earlier, he's like, how goes it? You opening today? I'm like, yeah, bro, 5 minutes. And he's never here. I'm like, I just need to ask people, like, hey, man, you ready to go somewhere? I'm like, yeah, 5 minutes. And they just never show up. You're like, why did you ask me if we're not going to be here? Hey, Leslie, what's up? All right. What do we got? Anything else? This could be a short day. Oh, I think I had something. What did I have? Oh. Jeremiah 44. Yes. One more thing to pick on the Catholics over. Catholics, why? Do you do things like Jeremiah 44? I was, listening to my audio Bible as I do when I wake up. Steph, is that you? You're anonymous, Steph? Oh, okay. Anytime I see an anonymous, I just assume it's Steph. So in Jeremiah 44, these people were offering sacrifices and worshiping a false goddess called the Queen of Heaven. This is probably Ishtar or something like that. Anyway, I'm like, wait, you keep talking about Queen of Heaven in Jeremiah 44. Why do the Catholics call Mary Queen of Heaven? And I'm like, I understand their reasoning, like, the mother of our Lord and things like that. I get it. But it's like the best way to not get criticism from people is to not directly use titles for things like false goddesses. So if you wanted to call Mary, a prominent position, like Mother of our Lord, like the Bible does, do that. But why is it like, well, okay, guys, remember that part in Jeremiah 44 where they're worshiping false gods and they call this goddess chick the Queen of Heaven? Hey, let's use that title. It's like, wait, why? Even if you have intent as pure as the driven snow, why are you calling the mother of Jesus Queen of Heaven, which is the same title used for the false goddess that Jeremiah is condemning? Like, call her Mother of our Lord. That sounds fine. What's wrong with that? That's a very biblical thing, right? Like, we're not even talking about veneration. We're just talking about titles. So, Steph, in Jeremiah 44, these people are being condemned for worshiping false goddesses identified as the Queen of Heaven. Fast forward a few thousand years, Catholics call Mary Queen of Heaven and Queen of the Universe. But why? It's like if you want to look suspicious, do that. If you don't want to look suspicious and still, raise some criticism, come up with a different title. But don't use the same title identified with demons. Good morning, Steph.
Good morning.
Queen of Clubhouse.
That is not me. That's serendipity.
Did your dog really puke ever last night? And do you still have the plague?
Oh, she wasn't puking. She was just barking. And yes, I have no idea what's wrong with me. My friend who's a nurse thinks I just caught something else. But dude, I've been sick for a month.
Okay, I'm not giving you medical advice, and you don't need to say any medical advice, but you know what I'm thinking. Do that. Lots of that.
I don't think it's COVID.
I didn't say that. Doesn't matter. This thing it can treat lots of things. Just saying.
Okay. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm at that point. I don't know.
I can't believe you're still sick.
I have a Bible question. I gotta leave soon.
Yes,
so.
Steph, you're suffering from weight. Yes, Lou, what's your Bible question?
What does... I'm trying to... All right, I was gonna do a voice, but I changed my mind.
Yay.
When did John 17:12 happen, or 2? I forget where it's at. But when did John 17:12 happen is the question.
You always ask hard questions. All right.
Talk to you later. Thanks.
Wait, when did
let
John
me just make sure the reference.
Wait, he said 17:12 or 17:2. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, John 17.
Before you go.
17 something. Just when did all of John 17 happen?
17:12. So when did John 17:12 happen? I gotta go. Bye. Thank you. I'll be listening.
Okay. John 17:12. I don't immediately think I'm going to know the answer. Jesus prays for his disciples. Okay. While I was with them, I protected them and kept them safe by that name you gave me. None has been lost. Okay. Let's see. Jesus prays for his disciples, starting in 6. I have revealed to you those you gave me out of the world. They were yours, and you gave them to me, and they have obeyed your word. Now they know that everything you have given me comes from you, for I gave them words and you gave me. Why can't I read? For I gave them the words you gave me, and they accepted them. They knew with certainty that I came from you, and they believed that you sent me. I pray for them. I am not praying for the world, but those you have given me, for they are yours. All I have is yours, and all you have is mine. And glory has come to me through them. I will remain in the world no longer, but they are still in the world, and I am coming to you. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. While I was with them, I protected them and kept them safe. By the name you gave me, none has been lost except the one doomed to destruction, so that the scripture would be fulfilled. So, I mean, unless this is a trick question, this is like shortly before he's crucified and resurrects and ascends and leaves this world. If it's a trick or a deeper question, I don't know. But I mean, it feels very self-explanatory. Would anyone have a different take on that? Wonderful, wonderful. All right, Lou, I guess my answer is exactly what you would read. It's shortly before he's crucified, because he prays in the present tense, like this is happening now. And then he talks about, you gave them. Well, when did he give? Like when he called them, or before time began? Like I don't really care about that, because you could say either way, and then people can fight over academia and be like, well, he gave them to him when he called them by name. So when he called them, they were already given by the Father to him when he called them to be his disciples. However, just like the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world, that happened before he was actually crucified. In some way, that has always happened. So in that way, they have always been the elect. So he gave them to him before the foundations of the world. If someone wants to go that route, sure, say whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Practically, he's praying for them right then, shortly before he leaves this world via ascension. Yes, Random.
You should check out verse 18.
Okay.
Or not verse 18, chapter 18.
So this is not about John 6:45. Is this a Calvinism question? He's texting me. Okay, let's check out chapter 18. Let's check out chapter 18. What am I checking out in
keep
chapter
in mind
18?
when he says, I pray not for the world, but for them, and blah, blah, blah. And then he says, except for the one I lost. Are we saying that Judas is the only person ever to go to hell? Or are we saying that he's just talking about the disciples in this moment?
Well, the question was, when does this happen?
Don't agree with the election thing you gave is not going to work, because he's clearly talking about the 12. He's not talking about the elect.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just don't understand the question. Like, when did this happen? Well, right before he was crucified. And Random, why are you not speaking? What's the significance of going to 18?
Well, 18, so it gives the section on Jesus praying, and then it goes into the further context of, like, after this, they go to, where's your McCullough?
Yeah, like this is right before he's arrested and then crucified, and yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I was combining 43-something days in there, but yeah, like right after praises, he's arrested. Thus begins that back and forth between Pilate and Herod. Then he's crucified. Then 3 days later he rises. Then 40 days after that.
I wasn't trying to suggest that you were wrong. I just thought that...
Oh, no, thank you.
Given that there's an audience and possibly other people...
yes.
Tagging along to this question, verse 18 is relevant. Or chapter 18
Random,
is relevant.
will you host this thing? I am not qualified.
Okay, Nate, I will be your biblical advisor.
That's better than Trump's. Lou, I hope that answered, but without you asking. Oh yeah, he was asking in context of John 6, right? So this is not about John 6:45. I'm gonna say no, because the question was, when did this prayer happen? Well, that's when the prayer happened. Or was the question about when were they given him? Hello, Michael. Good morning. John 6:45. Is this none can come to the Father?
Oh, maybe he is asking when were they given.
Oh, is that the question? Not when did this
Well,
prayer happen?
just when you said that would make sense. Because he has said, when did this happen? So did he mean the actual prayer? Or did he mean the giving? Okay, Lou, if you meant the giving.
Oh, he says yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So if you meant the actual giving, again, in this context, he's talking about the 12. He's saying to the 12, you 12 were chosen, except the one I lost. I pray not for the world, but for you, right? So this is specifically to the 12. This is not a statement about the corporate elect who become Christians or whatever. So, yeah, in the same way that the lamb was slain before the foundation of the world, the 12 were chosen, right? This is not universally prescriptive. Or I don't know, it could be, but I don't think that it is here. I think he's talking about the 12. So there's no it's not too confusing to imagine that the 12 were chosen before the foundation of the world in the same way. And the main reason that we would think that is because it says, I have not lost any except the one, right? So either you'd have to say, like, if he's talking about the world, then only Judas goes to hell in the whole entire world, or he's just talking about the 12, and of the 12, he only Judas was lost, right? So yeah, that's why all of that is in the context of the original disciples.
Yeah, but he's boiled down John 17:12 into like a phrase of like 5 words, which you have given me. So after all of that, the
Yeah,
question
the
is,
disciples.
and after all that, the question is boiled down to, well, when were they given? So like, if I was asking the question, I would have said something like, hey, John 17:12, where it says, which you have given me, when did he give them? But that's neither here nor there.
If we're talking just about when were the disciples chosen to be disciples, I don't know.
Right. Well, no, that's
the dawn of time, like 5
right.
minutes
That's the
before
thing.
us.
It doesn't matter. Like, all this serves is to bring up the important Bible verses that I would use to counter this, which would be, don't worry about foolish quarrels and dissensions. This stirs up strife and ruins everyone who listens. So if you think, oh, I think this is right then, he gave them to him right then, and someone would say, oh, well, I disagree. I think he gave them to him right before they were called as disciples. And someone else, like Chris, would say, I disagree with that. I think they were given to him before the dawn of time, just like, even though it doesn't explicitly say everyone who would ever be given to him, just like everyone who would ever be given to him was always before the beginning of time, because God always knew who the elect would be. And then the first person could say, oh, well, thank you, sir. I respectfully disagree with that. But never mind. It's not a salvation issue. They were given. That's the point. So let's go have lunch. And everyone said amen. But it never goes.
Wonderful. That is delightful.
I'm sick. I don't want to have lunch.
Oh, you were getting sick last night? Did Steph infect you from New York?
Yes.
Oh,
I blame
sorry to
her.
hear it. Is that why you're late? You're like, where are you? How's it going? I'm like, dude, I'm opening 5 minutes. And like 50 minutes later, you show up.
I'm like, I've got the rabbit flu. Whatever that is.
Wow, you don't sound good. Hey, we can get normal, subdued, down to earth Chris today. You just have to be sick for this to happen.
Did you figure out your loopback, dude?
No. What I have figured out is last night I ran one computer plugged in straight to my modem. 10 hours of perfection, no disconnects. Right now, I switched the cable, and now I'm running straight to my Mac to my modem. No disconnects, everything's working great. So, the problem is either one of these loopback things or with the router itself. So after this, I will, like you said, you're like, you have to go through everything and disconnect one by one. I'm like, dude, that is a monumental task. So you did say, so let me confirm, that simply changing the network name and passwords so nothing can connect, and then one by one adding them back, that is a much more convenient and also effective way of doing this, right? Because if I connect nothing and it disconnects in like 5 times in an hour, then that's clearly the router only.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Logical. Using the laws of logic.
That's why you should have listened to me about theology too, Chris.
Wait. I'm the
How's it going, Steph?
Told you how to do that.
No, you're the one that said go step by step, and then I'm like, wait, can't I just like change the router network name? And you're like, yes! Exclamation point.
Oh yeah.
I figured out a better way, a third way that is not wrong.
Yeah. No, that is it's like I would never. So like,
I said 200 an hour a dollar. Chris would never suggest
situation because like there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's with that. But like, yeah, but at your house, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, I may have to get a new router, and apparently the $50 ones are all junk. And like I've always had been suspicious.
I mean, if you
about
get
this.
a $50 one, I can just ship you one of my very nice ones that I'm not using. Like I said, they're collecting dust.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that may be good. Like, let me know how much it costs to ship.
I mean, I can probably foot the $20.
Thank you, Chris. This is why you're such a good guy. We just need to work on how you interact with the world and everything you are in your face.
Yeah. Okay, so are the laws of logic abstract universals? Random.
Guys, now, I was going to say you can get away with whatever worldview you want. He's probably too sick to challenge you, but turns out he's not that sick yet. So try some prosperity stuff and see if that works.
Still want to know if the laws of logic are abstract universals.
No.
Are you too sick to challenge Hillsong music?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Lou, that answers your question. What's next? Good morning, Michael.
When the hell's your government going back to work?
Good question. Don't know.
Honestly, it's just everybody's taking a vacation. Speaking of vacations, I wasn't here for it. Happy Thanksgiving, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
Yo, that's messed up.
Dude, it's so messed up that Canadians have a different Thanksgiving. Y'all need to get on board on the American Thanksgiving.
Yeah, y'all
Maybe
need
you
to get
will
on board
be
with the
when you're the
metric system like the rest of the
51st state.
world. Yeah, that's never going to happen. So,
Did you see the joke that Trump said to the Canadian Prime
besides,
Minister?
your dear leader's too busy giving away billions of dollars to other countries.
I mean, we've got extra. It's fine.
Oh my gosh, maybe he'd be a conservative if he was here, at least
Yeah.
fiscally.
Hey, did you see
You're halfway
did
one
you
of
see
us.
the joke that he cracked on your Prime Minister?
Yeah, he called him a president. It wasn't a joke. It's because he didn't know.
Well, he's like, well, at least I didn't. And then he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm Prime Minister. And he says, at least I didn't call you governor.
Wait, there is no president in Canada, right?
Wait, that's funny.
Yeah, that's what Trump
Right.
That's
didn't.
funny.
Yeah, he
Well, no,
made a
that's
because-
what
joke
your
about them being
dear
the
leader.
51st state.
Well,
Yeah,
didn't
that's
agree.
hilarious.
The point I'm making is France, they do have a president and a prime minister, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think is Macron, isn't he the president and they've been going through like 1,000 prime ministers because he can't keep one? Someone fact check me. I think
France has a different system than Canada.
So I mean, to be fair, when you
yeah.
deal with like 180 something countries, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like France has a completely different system. I mean, it's still a parliamentary system, but I believe that the president of France has a lot of power as opposed to the prime minister. I think it's
Seems
just
like
set up differently.
France is having some issues. I've been seeing like tons of riots in the streets of Paris.
I wonder, Michael, you have dogs, right?
A dog,
Snakes.
singular dog,
Singular
dog,
dog.
multiple snakes.
When will it be illegal for you to walk your dog on the street? That's what I want to know.
Why would it ever be?
Oh,
They're starting to tell them, Nate.
well, you tell him, Chris, because I have a follow-up.
So they're starting in certain areas of very high Muslim concentrations in certain cities around the world. They're starting to make them no dog areas because dogs are offensive to Muslims culturally.
Yeah, that's just not a thing here. So,
And Michael, let me sling some more mud. Is it true? I'm pretty sure it is. I only have limited bandwidth to care about this, but I saw an article that says in Canada there is a second person sentenced to jail for apparently denying the Holocaust. Is that something well known there?
not that I'm aware of.
Someone fact check that. All right.
The Jew.
Who's your PTR, Chris? Who is that? It looks familiar.
So my son found this is gonna be the icing on the cake for Steph. So my son on Spotify found a presuppositional apologetics indie band that does all of their lyrics as Cornelius Van Til and Greg Bonson, and they have this T-shirt from the band that you can purchase, and he sent me a link to it, and I immediately purchased it, and he's been waiting for it for like 2 weeks.
Do the band members fight like Bonson and Van Til did?
Well, Bonson and Van Til had disagreements, but Bonson was the student and Van Til was the teacher, so yeah, they did disagree on a few things like theonomy and.
Did the student become better than the master?
There is some infighting in precept, like Dr. Frame and Dr. Oliphant have a running gun battle about something extremely technical and philosophical, and I don't even understand it. So, but Dr. Frame is like literally 90 something years old, so I don't think he really participates in that anymore. But he's still my friend from church's neighbor, so I'm still going to see if I can have lunch with Dr. Frame. He's been retired for like 30 years.
Let's see. John 6:39, audio cross study, commentary, Greek, And this is the will of him who sent me, that I shall lose none of all those he has given me, but raise them up on the last day. Why are you doing this to me, Lou? Oh, it's because he's a troll, that's why. We could just have Chris explain Calvinism and just call that a day. This was in light of John 17. When was the giving done? Like my answer is it doesn't matter. That's my answer. None of this matters. All this is going to do is be a little intellectual dotted I or crossed T, and 2 steps further is going to lead to contention and quarrels. That's my answer. So it doesn't matter. Before the foundation of the world, that's fine. Is it because he chose them, or they chose him, or he knew they would choose him if given the choice, so he chose them anyway? Throw a dart, pick one, doesn't matter. Repent and believe the gospel.
Now, what's the contention? Is it like when the disciples were saved? Because
it was John 17. He said John 17:12. It was when were they given to him? Because he says, I've prayed for them that I won't lose any that you've given me except for Judas. And the question was, when were they given? Like right then, when they were called as disciples before the foundations of the world. When were these 12 given to him?
It seems that they were given to him. I mean, obviously the answer is before the foundation of the world, but in terms of like the temporal idea of when the disciples are saved, it seems as if they were Old Testament saints to start with. So like, it says that, I think it says that Nathaniel, is it Nathaniel? I'm trying to remember, is an Israelite.
Yeah, like Jeremiah 43. I was just listening to that today too.
Oh no, like
different Nathaniel.
No, different Nathaniel. Like Nathaniel, the disciple. Like when Jesus is talking about him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go
getting
find."
my Bible confused.
Was it Nathaniel?
No, it was in John. I was reading this last night. Goodness. Yeah.
There's one of the disciples where he is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna see him under the fig tree or something."
John 2. John 2.
Okay, yeah, and then
yes,
and then he's like, "Yes," and he's basically a blameless man, it says, or something along those lines. So it's like, yes, if he's already upright as a Old Testament saint, then it seems like all of the disciples had already exercised faith prior to Jesus calling them to be disciples. That's the theory.
Well, yeah, I mean, they would have been, keeping their law because they have faith, just like all the people who were saved by faith.
Yeah. Well, like Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness.
Do you have faith according to the old law? I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Lou? Like, if you follow the law, that's expressing faith. Like, if you're following the law and being like, this goat will save me, well, that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's bad.
If you're like, I'm sacrificing this thing because I have faith in God who said, here's the law, do it. Congratulations, that is expressing faith in God.
Yeah, it's like people would sacrifice because it was ordered, and that they had faith that sacrifice would take away their sins. That was the main thing.
Are you familiar?
Oh, wow, my buddy from church, the one who knows John Frame, is just texted me that he's homesick today.
I was going to make a joke about being homesick because you said it fast. Like, well, he needs to get home right away.
Yeah, they want me to go to church. They want me to go to... Oh, I can't even do that other router today for that business. I got to text them here shortly. There's no way I'm going to be able to think through a very complex installation. I can barely remember the freaking disciples' names. And I like doing that.
Well, Chris, I would like that router, but don't send it while you're infected.
Don't worry, I won't send it with a smallpox blanket. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, did you know that the villain in the Pocahontas movie, like the Disney movie, was a real person?
Which Pocahontas movie?
Like the animated one? Like
Like
they
the
did
new
a
one or
live
the old
action
one
didn't
when
they?
we were
Like
kids?
the old one when we were kids.
I don't remember the villain. Who was the villain?
He was like this Puritan guy, but like
Oh, of course, yeah.
I was actually reading about that guy, and he's a Christian martyr. He got a bad rap in that movie. Like basically he was captured by I don't remember which tribe, and they tortured him to death by flaying him alive with mussel shells as knives. And so the women in the tribe had him tied to a stake next to a fire so that when he would bleed, the fire would make his bleeding stop, and they flayed all of the skin off of his entire body to kill him.
Is this Governor John Ratcliffe? Is that the name of the villain?
Yes.
Wow, he looks like a villain. Let's see.
Definitely was not a villain.
Well, I mean, the way they have him depicted. Did they change the name, or is that his name? Yes, okay. Let's see. Yes, Governor John Ratcliffe was a real person, an English sea captain and colonist who was appointed governor of the Jamestown settlement in Virginia in 1607. He was a figure in the early history of the Virginia colony, known for his conflict with Captain John Smith and eventual death at the hands of Native Americans in 1609. Let's see. He was captured and executed by the Pamunkey tribe in 1609. Let's see. Dive deeper into AI mode.
Tell me about his execution.
Like, why would they do that to him? I mean, does anybody have any record of why they did that and to him instead of somebody else?
They did it to lots of people. That's just what they did.
Wow, Google won't even answer. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff you can read about it. Do better. All right, let's try other eyes. You had your chance, Google.
Once we're done with this, I want to talk about the link that Jeff posted in Ask a Christian.
Okay. Let's see if this thing will give me a real answer. Okay. It says, was he a Christian? Yes, almost certainly. He was an Englishman in the 17th century, so he would have been a member of the Church of England. Anglican. There you go, Chris. Like most English colonists of that time, he would have been identified as Christian, although how devout or sincere was not well documented. His faith would have reflected the standard Protestant beliefs of England under King James I. Why was he killed? He was killed under extremely brutal circumstances. Here's the context. As one of the early governors of Jamestown, he led a group of men to trade with the Powhatan for the corn during what became known as the starving time. The relationship between the English and the people had become strained and violent. Ratcliffe walked into an ambush. The Powhatan pretended to want to trade, but instead attacked. Wow, deception? Is there a word for what we would call that now from other
Hey, are you a liar? According to the Bible, all men is a liar.
Hold on, Gino.
Are you a liar?
Hold on, don't get thrown to the
No, I
audience,
just
man.
want to know before, because we keep hearing the lies. Are we
Hold
supposed
on,
to listen to liars?
hold on, don't get thrown. Just hang in there, buddy. Hang in there.
Yeah, but
Are you
we ought to obey God rather than man.
Dang
Yeah.
it, he's gonna get himself
Steph,
removed. I love
why
dealing
did you
with
let
Gino.
him up? Gino, can you keep it together for 2 seconds while I read? These are not my words. Well, I guess that was. Okay. So he walks into an ambush because people lied to him. Okay, so according to early colonial accounts, notably by Captain John Smith, Ratcliffe was captured and tortured to death, supposedly, just like you said, and then burned. But why? He was killed likely as a result of rising hostilities between the English settlers and the native tribes during a desperate period of famine and mistrust. So what it seems like is this guy was, I mean, this is what I'm getting from ChatGPT. So he was a good faith actor that went to talk about trade for food, and it was an intentional premeditated ambush. So based on what we have here, I don't know about any past squabbles or anything, but up to the time of his capture and torture and death, he was a good faith actor going to trade, and people deliberately ambushed him and murdered him. So that's what we know if anyone wanted to know about the Pocahontas villain. Gino, how can we help you today?
Smallpox blankets were probably a good idea.
What's up, Gino?
Oh, yikes, Chris. Good lord.
Steph, what do you want to talk about? What link was in chat?
Well, just to tie that, I do always find it interesting that there's like this whole thing about the Native Americans being victims. It's like, dude, they were a series of, first of all, there were so many of them. There were like multiple tribes, some that never even had contact with each other. So calling them one people group is just already ought to be offensive, but okay, whatever. But many of them were very proud, sophisticated warriors with incredible economic and governmental systems, and we treat them like they were just like over here banging sticks together to make fire, right? My, what is this? Fifth great grandfather settled in Pennsylvania prior to the Revolutionary War. The only reason I know this is because we still own the property that he built, which is like amazing. I'm super lucky. Like we vacation there all the time. Okay, anyway, there
That's
are
super
these.
cool.
It is
Vacation there
so
permanently.
cool. Yeah, it's in Western. Well, I'm trying, but the whole family has to vote on. Like, it's split between now my dad. There's 900 acres, and it's the original property and barns and everything that like this
Property,
great great
sister.
great grand.
That's not your lane.
Okay, so here's the problem with that, right? Okay, in Pennsylvania, they were giving land to people who were coming from Britain in the 1700s to go
How could
settle
you give something
Pennsylvania.
that's stolen land?
Uh-huh. So
Yes,
what they
Steph.
If you
did
steal
was,
somebody right and they see it later on and
Yeah.
it's still they
Stolen
right,
from who?
who? From God.
Stolen from who?
God.
From God. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think God cares if I have a deed to
I
my
just
house?
feel like I want to finish this story real quick. Okay,
No,
in
no,
the
you did this,
house,
Steph. You did great.
I know.
You got 900 acres of land, right?
Uh-huh.
Where some people don't got no acres. Where you see your brothers and sisters starve and people getting killed and you worried about your vacation
Yeah.
and
So
your
my
land.
fifth great
Oh, you
grandfather
living
was, hold on.
wonderfully, sister.
Okay. My fifth great grandfather was given that land for being a Revolutionary War hero. Okay, so he fought in the Revolutionary War and survived, and he was given that land. Okay. Now, part of this is that there
That
were
is
treaty. No, I'm
so
not a liar.
cool.
You could go look. I could give you. His name was Benjamin Lamphere. Okay, like you can go look up Captain Benjamin Lamphere in Western Pennsylvania. Okay.
That is
Anyway,
so cool. You just
yeah,
went
I
up
know it's really
way
cool.
higher on the cool meter.
Thank you. So he was given this land for his service in the Revolutionary War. Now, if you're not aware, Gino, the Native Americans also fought in the Revolutionary War because they hated the British more than the colonists, just so you know. So there were portions of land in Pennsylvania that were agreed these are going to go to people who blah, blah, blah. So they settled in Western Pennsylvania, but the Native American tribes were still there, and not all of them were cool with it for exactly the reason that Gino is whining about. So there's this really cool thing in the house where they have exposed rafters, and this is where we all sit around in the dining room in the table for Thanksgiving and everything. There are holes in the rafters, like every 12 inches or so. So the story goes that my grandfather's grandfather, okay, that's when they were really struggling with the Native Americans. So this would have been like early to mid 1800s. They were super scared. There were like very few settlers out there. So this was like 2 generations after the original builder of the property, right? And my great great grandmother used to hang meat up on the hooks for smoking. And so they would smoke them outside, and then they would hang meat on hooks through those holes in the rafters, because initially that wasn't a dining room. So the Native Americans, I guess, one time came and knocked on the door. They had a little smokehouse that is still standing today. So they saw and smelled that she was smoking meat. So they came and knocked on the door. And the story goes that she was absolutely terrified that they were about to kill her. Like because they had already killed so many other settlers, and they were like, and they lived in what we call the flats, which is like across the road out to the Allegheny River. So they knock on the door, and she is terrified. She actually wrote a journal entry about it in the journal that still exists in the bedroom drawer. And she was like, that, they're going to die because the Native Americans are here.
The journal is still in the drawer?
Yes, she recorded this. A whole story happened in like 2 sentences in her journal, but my grandfather.
Frame it.
Okay.
Make copies.
We're working on
want
digitizing
to see
everything.
This book. You need
It's so cool. We could have a
scan
living
it.
history museum. It is like the coolest. This is the
What
whole
the
reason I
heck?
got
What is
into art
wrong with
history
you?
and
Take
like
pictures of every page. What are
Okay,
you
okay, I
doing?
will. All right. But listen, so she had the Native Americans came, she thought she was gonna die, and she was like, I mean, the story goes that she basically knelt down and was begging for her life. And they didn't speak the same language, so they waved at her and they pointed to the meat hanging on the rafters. So they pointed to the meat, and then they had an axe and they pointed to the axe. And she just kind of looked at them and was like, okay. And they chopped wood for her, and then they took the meat and they left the wood. And so then the Lamphere family became known in the area as being the family that was safe with the Native Americans. They had an agreement because they had, and other people in that Western Pennsylvania area had very violent relationships where like the natives were killing the settlers. But my family, because we had a working farm, had this trade relationship. So anyway, at least in my family, the story goes that you don't mess with the Native Americans, and like they were very, very, very scary.
Well, let me recap some of this. So the first thing, Gino, by the way, let it be known, I did not bring Gino up, nor did I put Gino down. Steph invited this
I did
upon
both
herself.
of those things. Yes.
Gino, I'm happy if you come back in a second, if Steph is. Okay, so secondly, the Native Americans, yes, like you say accurately, there are many documented, good relationships where there's, interchangeability between marriage, food, crops, all this other stuff. And there is very, very awful ones, some of the worst. Many of these tribes were guilty of what would be war crimes. It was not enough to just fight with bows and arrows. They would dip these arrows in feces of themselves and animals and run around, so whenever they shot someone, they would get infected, sepsis, and die. I'm pretty sure that would fall outside of the Geneva Convention. Anyway, then what I've learned, Steph, that is a very interesting lesson. One, why you are not on the land. You made a case. Everyone has to vote or whatever. You could go squat, just saying. Or be like, no, we're not living there. We're just vacationing. You've been vacationing there 10 years. Sure. Okay, also, I've learned that
I'm working on it, trust me.
you have a very rich history.
Seriously,
and
that
you
is
and all of
so
your family
cool.
are colonizers. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, that's so cool. Like,
This is why, okay, on my dad's side of the family, we go back to this property. We know who the person was who came to America, and we know who, like, what he did and that he fought in the war. And then the family stayed there. And then on my mother's side, I'm only second generation from Sicily. So I love when people are like, you a slave owner. Like, I just happen to know that nobody in my family ever owned slaves ever.
Did you
because
know
I know
that
who they all are.
There was about 2% of people in the South who owned slaves. 2%.
Yeah, I know. But it was a massive number of slaves. So,
yeah, but like,
Right, but the massive number of slaves is not important. The important thing is for this metric. The important thing is the minimal number of white devils. So, great. Go dig up their bones and, hang them from the rafters or whatever in eternal shame. But
Nate, good morning, first of all, to everybody.
Hey, hope you're
how
doing
are
well,
you
Sean.
feeling, Sean? What's going on?
All right. Now, wait a minute. You got to take in this, and we'll spread out the context. The slaves are counted as 3/5 per. Plus, you've got the overseer. The overseer wasn't the owner, but he sure worked for the master. He got paid for his job. Well, then you got all the laws forbidding slaves to know how to read. If they defended themselves against anyone white, they could be killed. So you got to take all that into consideration as well.
Consideration for what? Math and numbers, or what?
I'm talking about just the full
like,
context of the thing.
yeah,
Well, sure.
so
If we're
like,
having a full contextual debate, sure. But I mean, just my only point was pointing out the numbers. But yeah,
so 2% of Southerners and slaves. Let's toss another like 1 or 2% there for like white folk that were overseers or otherwise in charge of the plantations. I mean, we're talking like 3% of the population were involved with slavery.
well, I just want to know,
and not to mention those who are, not to mention those farmers who whose slaves were hired out to.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so you got you.
So let's go.
So
We'll add another percentage for the other plantations that didn't own slaves but used
I'm
them.
no, I'm saying I
as
said farmers. I didn't say
Yeah.
plantation.
well,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
not
so
let's not
farmers,
for,
I see. That's the one thing
4%?
about it.
well, let's
you
not forget,
expand it.
Chris. You need to add a couple other percent for the Nigerian and African kings who actually rounded up their own people and sold them. So you would need to add a couple percent from the black people who sold their people. To get them here in the first place, you need, I don't know what percent.
There were
that
also
is.
a lot of black slave owners.
The point is, slavery is bad. Don't have slaves. That's the point.
The point is that Steph's family never had slaves.
So in
And
other
I want
news,
to know more. Can you put the
look,
name of
here's
your
the woman who
ancestor?
forged the relationship with the Native Americans. She was actually a carpenter, and they come from the family in Boston, the famous Carpenter family that were they were pastors, and so they kept really good records of their own family. So if you are related to these people, you can actually do a free DNA project that is studying them because they're like so well. Anyway, that was her. This is Mary. And then I also have in my PTR the exterior of the house and the interior of the house. So the house itself was built in 1835, so it's
cool.
Yeah, so there's my family hanging out on Thanksgiving in one of the rooms with the exposed rafters.
Well, I was going to say it's interesting how no one is immune, and we have like this shift of history right now. How Sean mentioned earlier, and we'll say hi to Schrodinger. And Greg. Hey, Greg. But it's interesting how we can see different things of history repeating itself in different ways. So Sean brought up the point where, if you're a black and you defend yourself against a white person, you could get in trouble for that. But now we're seeing that if you get attacked in the streets of some countries in the world, and you are white and defend yourself, you go to prison for that. It doesn't make either right. Both are wrong. Everyone should have the ability to defend themselves against an attacker, regardless of race or color of either. But that's not the way. So the more people refuse to learn history, the more we are doomed and destined to repeat it. And unfortunately, for those who do know it, we're destined to have it repeated upon us because those in power apparently don't.
Well,
Hey,
not
Nate.
only that, but we had the Marines go and break the back of the Muzzy slave trade in the Mediterranean.
Oh, that was the it starts with a B, right? Oh, what was that? Chris, help me on the word. The whole time where that happened, we're like, well, yeah, we sent the Marines, and because they kept murdering our people, right? So that's why we got intertwined in the Middle East in the first place. It wasn't Israel; it was because we Barbary pirates, the Barbary pirates, right?
Barbary pirates, yeah.
Yes, the Barbary pirates. So everyone else was like bowing down. And I think the British were like, "Here, let us send you more gold." Like, bro, we have enough. They're like, no, let us send you more anyways.
Shut up, British. Well, they were in the middle of fighting the French, so they didn't want to have to fight the Barbary
and then they're like,
pirates,
America, we're gonna keep like murdering your citizens and all this. Who was it? Jefferson? Who was it?
It was Jefferson. Jefferson sent the Marines,
and he's like, yeah, let's send a bunch of boats to people to kill you. It's not murder because it was justified because they're defending the innocents who were legit murdered.
Yeah, it was warfare. I mean, it's
doesn't
just
make
warfare.
it right. Any loss of life is always unfortunate, but it is what it is. Michael, what's up?
Yeah, hey, Chris, you're talking about that whole Muslim dog thing. So it took me about 90 seconds.
He's gonna say it's a hoax.
No, it's just so there's a. Are you familiar with an online commentator named David J. Harris?
Never heard of him.
Oh, okay. He's the one who put it on, and it was shared more than 20,000 times over TikTok and Facebook. It's misinformation. So the pictures that you likely saw were from 2017, a little town called Pitt Meadows in British Columbia, and it's quite literally the definition of fake news. So what happened was there was a Muslim woman who went to the police because she was concerned about seeing dogs off leash. It was in an off leash dog park that she saw the leashes, that she saw the dogs off leash. And so the police basically explained to the woman, it's an off leash dog park. If you don't like dogs, don't go in there. But the city of Pitt Meadows, along with every other metropolitan area in Canada, has leash laws for dogs. So it's what you heard is just not true. And the picture that you saw was first circulated in 2017. That was done with a Google reverse image search to find out where it first came from, and that image didn't even come from Canada. It came from the United Kingdom. So it's just fake news, man.
Well, as per usual, we're finding that this is actually, as the one-off comment was as a joke, we're finding out that it's a little more complex than that, because there's dozens of instances of this, usually put forth by the Muslim community, not as official government participation. And so there are many dog-free zones. Wales 2024, environmental group Climate, CMU, Balmy suggested dog-free zones and green spaces as part of an anti-racism initiative to make outdoors more inclusive for minorities, including Muslims uncomfortable with dogs. This was a recommendation in a report to the Welsh government, not a ban, and it sparked backlash by prioritizing one group's concerns. No zones have yet been implemented as of October 2025 in Wales. So basically what we're seeing is that there's a lot of grassroots Muslim action in some of the enclaves in which they've taken over for cities, but they're not official government dog-free zones.
Yeah, to that point, it's almost like the more we investigate, the worse it gets, because it seems like there's no, to Michael's point, official, which they could have totally done it and be like, no, we didn't do that, but it seems like no one's admitting that any governing body did this. But it seems like what's almost worse is now, and I'm pulling up a thing from 2014 that does not seem to be misinformation. It seems to be legit, that someone did put up a flyer, a private individual, which makes it almost worse. Do not walk your dogs here. Muslims don't like dogs. This is an Islamic area now. And the police called it provocative and divisive. So it seems like there would be some Muslim people in these areas that feel entitled or comfortable enough putting up stuff like this. That is, as it was called, totally not by me, but as the council officials, provocative and divisive. If someone is comfortable enough to put up, I guess, hateful stuff everywhere, that's almost a bigger problem, right? Like it should be your freedom of speech and all this other stuff, whatever country, but, it should be your right. But if it's your right, that doesn't make it right. You should be like, yeah, I can put up hate stuff if I want. I have no fear of anyone. However, that's disgusting. I don't want to do that. I want to live at peace with all people, as much as depends on me. So I'm not going to do that. But I wouldn't have fear of repercussion if I wanted to do that.
Well, yeah, my statement was simply to rebut Chris's statement that this was happening in Canada, and it is in fact not.
Sure.
Well, so I was just saying when I was making a joke, like, when are you not going to be able to walk your dog?
It's not going to happen, right?
Well, but not
never say never.
So then let's examine that for a moment.
That's a slippery slope fallacy.
Well, but let's examine that for a moment. Okay, so like you as a Western atheist, I think you would agree, along with your buddy Richard Dawkins, that Christians are never going to be, grabbing you and, executing you in horrendous ways, like chopping your head off with a butcher knife, right? Because you're an atheist. The worst Christians do is like precept you, so, and you have to endure those slings and arrows, and I get that. But like I think that you, along with every other Western atheist, would have a healthy concern, perhaps not fear, that if Muslims were to gain a majority in any one Western country, This has literally dozens of historical precedents where they take over the government, institute Sharia law, and turn it into a Muslim country. Muslim majority countries are famous for limiting the rights of non Muslims. You are called kafir, and you have to pay the jizya tax, et cetera, et cetera. And so, while it may not be in our lifetimes because we are old and crusty,
And Chris
I
may
would,
not make it to the end of the day.
yeah, but I think that you would be, along with us, concerned of massive inflow of Muslims to any Western country, Canada, France, Germany, Britain, if they are able to, through, the birthing process and all that, eventually outnumber the natives of those countries. I think would you be at least concerned about something like that, knowing that this is a Muslim tactic that goes back 1,000 years?
No, it doesn't concern me.
Okay.
Well, I would say we'll see you in heaven, but, repent and believe the gospel first. Let's see. Steph, do you know what Gino was wanting to come up here for? He's gone now, but
I do want to chime in on that whole thing about Muslims because I don't think that I think it's not useful to see Muslims as some kind of monolith, which they're not. And I don't think that Muslims desire for very different outcomes than Christians do in general. I'm talking about 99% of Muslims.
You'll make a very good convert.
What was your question, Nate?
Do you even know what Gino came up here for, or was it to just?
Oh,
give
just to
everyone
tell
a
us we're
hard time?
bad for being white.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Schrodinger-
okay, maybe so. Gino is not. I think he's he believes he's Israel. I don't think he's a camp Hebrew Israelite, but he thinks. I think he's got some weird views. He thinks
one
that
that even they would kick
America.
out.
What?
One that even the Israelite camps would kick out.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think they would. Yeah, he's definitely not in line with them.
They
But
would never let him be a member in order for them to cook him out.
I get, yeah, he's definitely not in any kind of order. His thing is always about America is Israel, and that just like he said, the colonizers, whoever they are, took the land from the Israelites, and so
Oh, that makes sense. I was wondering
yeah,
why he was quoting Leviticus 23 that had nothing
Is
to do
he
with
a Hebrew
America, but if he thinks
Israelite?
America is
no.
Israel,
Yes,
then
he's not a
sure.
Hebrew Israelite. He's got some weird views. He thinks he is Israel, but he thinks America is Israel. That's the nation that God had promised the people, and the freed slaves are here to inherit America. So we're all in the way of God's plan. So that's one of the views he holds. But the difficult thing about him is that he just interrupts so bad that you can't even have a conversation. But
And
he has a lot of scripture memorized, and he is very quick with this verse says this, and this is why I
well,
hold
he
this
should stop memorizing and focus on understanding what he has memorized.
I mean, yeah.
Schrodinger, to see
Seemed
all
a
Muslims
bit.
as a monolith,
Seemed
I get your point to a little bit, but whenever, what you can do is, hey, you're a Muslim. Hey, you believe the Quran, right? Yep, I believe it. Great. That is enough to cause me concern. So if they can act and do civil things and live around me and my family and my city and stuff like that, and, be peaceful, I guess, sure, fine. What else are we going to do? But knowing that they believe and support everything in their Quran, that is enough to be concerned. So it's just because they're not actively following what it says, they believe it and support it. So if someone else does what's in it, they're like, well, we believe it, we're Muslim, we support that. It would be like we're Christians, people shouldn't be scared. Someone's like, I'm a Christian. I believe the Bible's the inerrant word of God. Yep, it's all true. I mean, if they have a gross misunderstanding, we can talk about that. But if they're like, okay, you're a Christian, what does that mean? Live at peace with all people as much depends on you. Praise God. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. Share everyone the good news that you can have eternal life to your Creator. Do good to those who give you evil. Don't repay evil with good. Overcome evil with good. Turn the other cheek. If someone forces you to go 1 mile, go 2 with them willingly. Give to those in need. Be a good Samaritan. If they believe all that stuff, then I don't need to be wary of them. I may not believe their God stuff, but I mean, sounds like we can get along just fine because they don't say like kill me or melt my belly fat or something if I don't believe in them. If they just consider me unsaved and someday far from now God will be my judge. Okay, I can coexist with these people just fine. It would be like if our Christian Bible said, chase people down and kill them, kill the unbeliever. It's like, oh, well, they're not actively doing what their Bible says, but it's in there and I know they believe it. That's enough to keep them at arm's length. Fortunately for us, our Bible says no such thing. It says the first thing. You cannot say that about the other thing, Schrodinger.
Oh, well, I mean, I think there's so firstly, a lot of the problems that you're addressing are grounded in not necessarily like a religious perspective, but really a co-opting religion for a political end. I think Muslims have political issues more than they have religious issues. And that's like pretty much all I'd say about that. So I don't think that understanding the grievances and why Muslims might behave a particular way is really important, because it's not, oh, I believe the Quran tells me to go and kill people, therefore I must go and kill people. Like 99% of Muslims don't believe that. I'm saying the 1% who do.
Yeah, it's the 1% you got to watch out for.
The 1% who do believe that it's more nuanced than that, right? It's about, okay, well, I feel attacked, I'm feeling oppressed, I feel colonized or whatever, and therefore I must act in this way. And really, that's all I'm going to say about it. I think you have to understand that Muslims at the end of the day do want to live peaceful, and coexist with people. I lived in a Muslim majority country, so I understand that. I'm not saying that they aren't evangelistic. Of course they are, but they're not going to go trying to kill you to be, convert or die. That's not.
Well, wait. What do you mean by they? Now you're painting with a broad brush the other way. There are absolutely hours and hours of video evidence of exactly that happening.
Yeah.
Of Muslims.
So 1% of 1.2 billion is still 12 million muzzies that want to chop everyone's heads off.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that's very nuanced, but okay.
I don't know what to say.
I don't think it's like 12 million. I would say it's probably like a few.
I'm just using your
thousand.
number. You said 99%.
I threw that number out there. I'm going to say there's probably like maybe 10,000 Muslims who think like that.
There's way more than that were in Gaza that participated in October 7th. Like, that's only one little place. Like, you should really rethink this.
Well, I mean, Chris, with all due respect, you know nothing about the region, right? You're saying the word Gaza,
and you from all your time lived there?
Yeah.
In Gaza? What's it like living there? How's your electric bill when you have it?
Yeah. So, I understand what the region in general is like and what happens there. So even, mind you, I mean, I'm talking about even Christians in the region, right? Like, you don't have to ask a Muslim in the region. You can ask a Christian in the region about what they think about what's happening. Why don't you listen to them?
The ones that have been murdered for their faith? Well, we can't really.
You mean the ones that are being slaughtered or slaughtering Hamas right now?
I mean,
Gaza?
you've got Google Nigeria.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand the relationship between.
Schrodinger, gosh, I love having conversations that are very difficult and hard, but when someone is so blindsided, and sure, you can level that criticism on me, but it's my show. But I mean, when people are so stuck in their head in the sand, I can't. It is a cancer to everyone listening. Google Nigerian genocide. Just Google that. That alone proves our entire case. Not to mention example after example after example, countlessly we have. So, like, in one Google search, your whole point, your whole thesis is defeated. Not to mention, like, I don't know, a couple thousand other examples. Let's be generous to your side. A couple hundred, 10 more examples. It doesn't matter. Gosh, Schrodinger, I wish someday would just come with something that's not so far away that we can have a real conversation about. Chris, what's up?
I just don't want. I want Muslims to live in Muslim countries, and I want Christian nationalism here. It'll be glorious and wonderful, and we'll achieve it by planting churches and allowing hearts to change one at a time.
Oh, changing hearts and minds. What was I gonna say?
So, Chris, would you, if the United States became a Christian, officially a Christian country, what set of biblical law would you want to be enforced?
Oh.
Yeah. So it would. I would reference like Doug Wilson, so you can go look him up. He has a very detailed answer to that question, like with literally all the stuff. And
I don't care
basically,
what Doug Wilson thinks. I asked what you think.
well, Doug Wilson thinks what I think. So, like, I just don't know the details of every single law, of the thousands and thousands of laws. So,
So, like, for example, would you want to see Levitical law implemented?
That would be unbiblical.
So there's going to be a difference. So there's going to be a difference between what is sinful and what is illegal, right? And so, Doug talks about this, that, back in the 1950s, America was not a post-apocalyptic hellscape. And so when we talk about a Christian nation, we could just roll back to some of the laws from the 1950s, some of the laws, not all of them, and we'll be doing pretty good.
How about we
So would
start
you
with
so would you or would you not want to see Levitical law implemented in the United States?
You know
No, I
you
think
wouldn't.
no, I think
some
that
Levitical
Levitical law is a broad outline of principles that give us an ability in modern jurisprudence to understand the moral and civil law in such a way that we can base rationally based laws for our civilization as they go. And so, do I think that the Bible's moral prescriptions are 100% correct? Yes.
So that scares me just as much, if not more, as a Muslim majority country.
Hang on. Let's find out where Chris wants to enact criminality, imprisonment, and death. Chris?
so swift and immediate public execution for murder. How about that?
Yep. And rape.
Yeah, I'm not a proponent of the death penalty, so I wouldn't go along with that.
I'm not either. Unless you could somehow say it's cut and dry, but if there's basically any leniency, people will find a way to exploit it, no matter how difficult you think that may be. So, my reason for not liking it is in the interest of, I'd rather let 12 guilty person go free than one innocent person to be imprisoned. Same thing with death, except death there's no coming back from. So that is why I don't like it, because it will be exploited. And that is not a defense or shout out to the criminals. That is an indictment on the would-be good doers, because they're not as good as they claim to be. We have provable history of that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Nate. And I think also that, like, since the discovery of things like DNA, it's just well known now that there have been people who have been executed wrongly.
And I hate that.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that speaks directly to your point. So you're saying swift and public executions, and then oops, turns out that guy was innocent anyway.
And it also turns out that there were lots of people who got off that DNA later proved that they were guilty. So, it
But when
goes
I
both
say
ways.
swift, like I don't I'm what I mean by that is like let's say within 30 days, which is plenty of time to do DNA analysis, and like instead of like you get the death penalty and then you sit in prison on the taxpayer dime for the next 30 years, right? But with appeal after appeal. But and also a total ban on abortion, right? Because it's because you, Michael, I guess, are only for the death penalty if it's an innocent baby in the womb. You're fine with them
Oh.
getting the death penalty.
So that's moronic. So okay,
You're
so
right.
this
It
is
is moronic that you
no.
take that
Here's
view.
okay. A total 100%, no exception, no
Absolutely.
exception.
No exception.
Let me just
Oh,
say,
okay.
hang on.
Look up an
Hang on.
ectopic pregnancy.
Let me,
You
yeah,
moron.
hold on. Let me just interject here before we do this like all or nothing. Let's say whenever there's like a person and a half a year that's like, I'm pregnant from rape. Let's talk about that to the actual concrete person when that happens. Let's just say that. Okay. Ectopic pregnancy, I mean, yeah, I guess you can answer that, Greg, if you want or
Guaranteed
whatever.
death sentence for both. Guaranteed. You moron.
Imagine
That's
you saying that in a
simply
nice
So
and
that's
untrue.
pleasant
actually
way.
not true. There are plenty of
Simply not
ectopic
true. You
Yeah.
Canadian moron.
So yeah, some ectopic pregnancies actually
Really?
flow back through you can look it up, please do. That they flow back through the fallopian tube and they actually implant in the uterus.
Citation,
Um,
please.
I would love to. Give me a moment.
I can really go anytime.
Chris,
And
are
even
you
if it were the case that quote unquote some ectopic pregnancies did that, that wouldn't be a guarantee that all would. And then what do you wait? Like, do you wait until let's see? Oh man, you're dead. Oh, sorry about that. We really hoped it would go back.
Chris, are you like on some sedatives this morning or something?
No, I'm just pretty sick.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Of all of us. What's up, James?
Not much.
I got about 5 minutes, guys. Find your
Oh,
sources quick,
darn.
Chris. Unless you got something really engaging. What's up, James?
I'm just, I get the hair raises on the back of my neck, the misinterpretation and the misconstruing of abortion. It really bothers me. But everybody has their personal opinions, and that's where it is. So, okay.
Sean, you got anything else to say? Or Greg?
There has never been one single case of a medical necessary abortion. It's a myth. It's a lie. It's simply not true. And even if you could point to one, fine. Let's use that as a starting point. And let's do a complete ban on any and all of the 99.9% of all pregnancies that are intentionally ended by abortion, that are perfectly fine and viable pregnancies that are just done for convenience. Let's put a ban on that.
So this person says there has never been, then he says, well, maybe there has been. So
No, I said, I
I
didn't say maybe. I said, even if you could point to one.
yeah, no, there has been. So it's funny that you speak with
No,
such
there's no.
confidence, but it's okay.
Greg, are you aware that approximately 25% of every what you would consider recognized conception end in spontaneous abortion, mostly before the woman was even aware that she was pregnant?
What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? Once a woman is aware she's pregnant and there's nothing wrong,
Does life begin at
then
conception?
they don't see.
Yes.
Why are you dodging? then they
If
don't
life
have a
begins at
right to
conception,
take the life of the unborn child.
right? If life begins at conception, and I just told you that almost 25% of all recognized, so a fertilized egg, almost 25% of those cases still end in spontaneous abortion. So the before implantation into the womb.
Do you think I'm suggesting we make a law out of that, a law against that? No spontaneous abortions in the womb? Is that what you think I'm suggesting?
No, but if that's the case, then to quote Sam Harris from Letter to a Christian Nation, God is the most prolific abortionist of all time.
See, that's just so stupid rhetoric. You fricking evil Canadian moron.
Well, Greg.
So the
having a
heck
good day.
what?
But Greg.
So what?
Yeah, but Greg, do you think God is in control of everything that occurs?
Yes, and God
Okay.
has the right to take life whenever he wants.
Right. So therefore,
but we don't.
Therefore, from the internal critique, it seems as though this God you believe in, who's in control of everything, does not have a problem with abortion.
With him doing it, see, and there again, you're no, he does have a problem with a mother voluntarily ending the life of her unborn child.
You like
what
to
God
stick
does
up
is
for the
one
God
thing.
you believe in to make it seem like it's
what God does
I'm
is
happy
one
you
thing.
believe in God,
what people are commanded to do is another.
Making excuses for your God is just very hilarious.
I'm not making excuses for God. What I'm saying is just because God has prerogatives doesn't extend them to us.
Do as they say, not as they do.
You're
right?
making excuses for women who want to murder babies.
No, see, I don't consider it murdering of a baby because it's not a baby yet. It's
it doesn't. Well, to be fair,
it's a developing human being, right?
Well, to be
So
fair,
when does it become a
doesn't
baby?
matter. It doesn't
James?
matter what we consider it or not. Like, what is the fact? And if the fact is there is a God who knows this stuff, does God consider it a life or not? Like, our considerations are regardless.
Yeah,
you're a developing human being, aren't you? Aren't you still learning things? You're a developing human being. Should I be able to kill you?
Human beings.
You could say it's a fact, Nate, right?
I said if.
Yeah. What you said, if it's a fact God exists, and then you said God does exist, or what'd you say?
I'm pretty good at hedging, James. Trust me. I said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what one of us consider it, because Greg said, abortion, and then you, being a man, said, well, I don't consider it this, and I said, well, our considerations are ultimately irrelevant. If it's life, it doesn't matter if we consider it life or not. If God is real, because how do you know? How do you know there's a spirit and stuff like that? So if there is life in this baby that will become a baby by what anyone says, and God is real, then God certainly knows, well, yes, this is life or this is not life. That's what matters, not what we consider it.
Right, and God can end it if God wants. So that's all I was bringing up. So it seems like it's okay as sometimes if God does it. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, right? So, like, going off the claims of the Bible, if we're going to talk about some of it like it's true, we should talk about all of it like it's true. So, the Bible makes claims that God is the only righteous judge. All life is his. He's the painter. He's the potter. We're the clay. All the stuff is his because he has infinite, intimate knowledge with everything in his creation. So, if there is one entity who can determine this stuff, it's him, because he knows everything and it's his to do with what he wants. So yeah, it's not like, well, it's okay here but not okay for you guys. It's apples and oranges different. Like, there is only one being who can do this. So it's not like God's the most prolific abortion person ever. It's like God is doing what he wants with his creation. So that is vastly different than us. So if God is the only just judge, we can all try to be, but we're not.
So I just found this on PubMed. Between miscarriage before and after implantation, almost 30% of pregnancies in the United States end in miscarriage.
So first of all, anything that you're getting from the medical establishment, I immediately call BS on.
Safe and effective, bro.
Yeah, the medical establishment has a vested interest in abortion. They're all evil, bloodthirsty scumbags, and I don't believe a word that they say.
Chris, you're
hold up, Chris. I have a cousin matter of fact, I have a niece who is a doctor, and she is as Christian as anything else. So don't do that.
Does she perform abortions?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, I'm talking about abortion doctors
Well,
and people in the
you need to
medical
You
correct that
said
every
medical
community.
day.
establishment.
The medical establishment has an
Well,
ethical
my
bias
niece is part
toward
of that, so I
abortion.
take
Even with
offense at
that,
that.
Chris is right because she would still have to abide by the rules that
She
the
does. But
hospital has made.
Allow
again,
me to
So
read between the
you
lines
cannot
and
change
save.
that.
Hang on. Let me read between the lines and save everyone much argumenting. Look, Dr. Carson, great doctor, neurosurgeon, all this other stuff, tons of accolades, tons of awards, tons of breakthroughs in the field of medicine. I don't think many people will consider him the medical establishment. Why? Because he's a Christian. He goes against the grain of a lot of their viewpoints. So to say, Sean, well, you're whatever you said, your niece or relative or whatever is a doctor, so she's part of the establishment. I would say, Dr. Carson, for example, he otherwise would be totally the medical establishment, but not many people are going to consider him that because he has so many viewpoints against the quote medical establishment, the run-of-the-mill, par for the course medical establishment. So in that context, you may say your relative would not be part of that establishment either. Anyways, just there you go. Carry on.
But if she's in the public hospital or working for the public, she would have to abide by those rules. Just saying, unless she's a private doctor.
Yeah. Well, also, I forget the name, Michael. I'm sure you know this. It sounds like you've been doing some research. It starts with a M. It's like, I would be interested on Greg or Chris. I mean, I guess technically I know your answer. But in these ectopic pregnancies, apparently when a lot of them are caught early, I think 75% are caught early enough that basically they treat it with medication and the mom reabsorbs it into her body. Is that ending a life, or is that continuing?
So there is a thing called a chemical abortion. Like it's not all going in surgically. There are chemical abortions as well.
Yeah, which are just as horrific.
It was the reabsorption that I thought was interesting. It's not like discards it; it's absorbed.
Here we go. So this is an actual bill in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's SB 1729. It is a abolition of abortion bill put forth by Dusty Devers, one of my favorites. It rejects the idea of, quote, medically necessary abortions, viewing ectopic treatment as triage, not elective termination, and advocate for laws like Oklahoma's SB 729 that requires doctors to attempt child rescue where possible. While they acknowledge the child's death is inevitable in tubal cases, abolitionists point to rare, viable ectopics as opportunities for innovation, echoing the Dublin Declaration that direct abortion is never necessary to save the mother. And so we could go to the Dublin Declaration. No abolitionist sources deny the existence of live birth cases. Instead, they use them to promote equal protection for preborn children from fertilization onward. And so the real thing here is that as abolitionists, we believe that all children, whether they are 1 day old or 55 years old, that all human life is worthy of protection.
So you started counting your kids' birthdays when they were in utero? Because you just said 1 day old.
You pretentious Canuck.
Hang on. I want to make one more point, and then I'm going to go. We spent enough on this. I want to say, James and Michael, get your people in order. I am being presumptive, but I just assume Kyle in chat is probably not a God-believing Christian, because apparently he wants a civil. I'm being fun. He wants a civil war more and more every day. Time to clean up. I won't even have to start it. So James and Michael, I believe I could probably coexist with you guys being neighbors on either side of my house, and would probably have a pretty good relationship. You would probably have the mantra that I could be a good moral atheist without the belief in a god or gods, and I would be like, well, it seems like you can certainly coexist at peace with us. I don't think this dude's the same, so just wanted to point that out there. Don't call for violence, bro.
Well, yeah, and if he's calling for violence, then I think he's a moron.
Read chat.
You know I never look at chat.
I know
I never look at chat.
The chat is a dumpster fire right now.
It is a
Kyle is a known provocateur. He's an atheist who says ridiculous things. You know, no one really takes him seriously. I'm not afraid of Kyle coming to my house and burning it down or anything. I think it'll be fine.
How seriously can we take him when his last name is Derp?
That's pretty true.
He keeps saying orcs. Like, it's like
maybe he's playing World of Warcraft or something.
Well, it's like Princess Bride. Like, it's like you keep using that word. I don't think you mean what I think it means. Like, if you're trying to use like some sort of racist term, but you're confusing with Christians, are you talking about Christians of a certain, like, I don't even know what you're going. Like, are you trying to be racist or just evil and violent? Just stop it all. Stop it all.
So I will say that one of the great needs in modern medical ethics is a Christian perspective of modern medical ethics. I have a good friend who is a pediatric neuro-oncologist. Okay. This lady is top of her field, saves a lot of lives of, children and babies who have brain cancer. However, and she is a devout Christian, but the medical ethics that she was taught was basically Nazi medical ethics. It was insane. Like, because we're having some chats about some things, and I'm like, what? Like, really? Like, this is the current state of modern medical ethics? And I mean, it sounded straight from Mengele. It was bad. And I challenged her on it. I was like, look, I think that a lot of your medical ethics are coming from, specifically an atheist worldview. And she looked into it and turned out to be correct. Yeah, it wasn't good. And so there is a huge need for a reteaching in medical schools of at least having the perspective of Christian worldview medical ethics, because right now the medical ethics being taught in the United States is very close to Nazi medical ethics.
I think we'll leave that here. I'm not even going to ask for final thoughts because none of them will probably be good. Guys, thanks for being here. Sheep, actually, did you want to say anything? Sorry, I didn't really get to hear much from you. Did you want to say anything?
No, you're good. I was just listening.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's see.
Tell me about your thing. I'm really curious as to how your router
Christianity
works.
will continue to be ejected from the medical community because it has no value in science or medicine. Christians gave you science and medicine. Okay, Chris,
Totally true.
I'll call you after a while. All right, later, guys. Well, that was uncomfortable. All right. Wait, is my voice matching this? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Did my camera get delayed? Or did my mic get delayed? Oh, no. No. Offset 300 milliseconds. Is my camera with my mic? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sure. Good enough. That's what I aim for. Good enough. Okay, everyone. Please like, share, subscribe, leave comments. Except don't call for violence. The dude's trying to get himself noticed in a bad way. Don't be violent. Live at peace with all people as much as depends on you, says the Bible. Okay. You should do that anyways. Okay, so yeah, like, share, subscribe. Check out youtube.com/@questionsaboutchristianity. No spaces. See you guys later. Take care.